Out here with a little bit of a review of the Bonne figure. Not so much of a review, it was more of just a little bit of a slideshow. Give you a closer look at the Bonne toy, and also I want to talk a little bit about the Bonne character in the game itself. He can be a little bit overshadowed at times by the other siblings, but to me, he was always one of the special characters. His size mainly, one of the unique things about his character. I'll talk more about that later, but the figure itself definitely represents the size that he is. He stands about 6.5 inches tall, at least, which is pretty proportionate to how big he is in the game, especially compared to the other characters. His fists in themselves are one of the heavier, bigger parts of Bonne, but if you balance him right, he can definitely do some interesting things. As you can see, he gets huge when you spread out those long arms. I definitely found some things very entertaining as I was working on him, coming up with ways to tackle some of his size issues. Because really, I was thinking it was just going to be too big to be a real toy to begin with. But definitely it was worth getting into. His size gives him a unique look when he's standing next to the other figures for sure. Hopefully watching all these pictures and spinning shots isn't too boring. I just figure since there's not a whole lot out there of what he looks like, there's not a whole lot of Bonne out there to begin with. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of art when I was going through looking for the reference stuff. Like Score talked about in his video, trying to get that balance of the art and the in-game design, getting those to match up in a way that I really wanted to make him look. Because there are some of the pictures that I'm not really that into. Looking through all that reference material with the few drawings of him that are out there, and then the in-game model, trying to match those decently well. Obviously the drawings differ a lot, especially in the feet. Here's a few production shots technically. Some reference sketches. I even made a little prototype Bonne just to try out some of the articulation ideas. Then from there I just started sculpting it right out of Sculpey Firm with a lot of sanding, woodworking tools. I only had to sculpt one of the arms and one of the legs, but there were some little challenges to get those to match just right. The little knee pad thing he has is one thing I had to make separate so that when I turn the leg the other side it could still be in the front. So that's a piece that's attached later. His hands were so big I didn't want to have to make two of them, so what I did was make the thumb detachable, only cast one hand and then glue the thumb on later. Also, another part of it was I wanted to potentially give him articulated fingers, and that didn't really work out because of the amount of joints it would take just to make each hand move. It's the same amount as it would be for an entire figure. I don't have those available obviously, but I thought it would have been a cool thing. Not like you ever see his fingers really moving in the game anyway though, so I just went with the closed fist. It's pretty much just a giant robot baby. Typically you see him a lot as his Schmetterling unit, which I would enjoy making, but that's got masses bigger than the Bonne already as it is. So it probably is going to be pretty far down the line if I do make him. I prefer him in his bipedal, 2 legs, 2 arms thing anyway, so I like having him in a standalone toy. You don't really see that much in the game. You never get to walk around him in his stand-up model. You never get to walk around Teasel either. I really like Bonne as a character, and he's kind of overshadowed in the game. They don't really delve too much into his backstory. What they tell you is he's a baby as a big robot. They don't really tell you if he's a robot or a baby inside. It's kind of up to you to decide. Maybe they were going to explain it in the later game. I like to think that he's actually a person inside there. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. This will just give you a better look at the toy if you haven't seen him yet. Be sure to join our mailing list at score6creations@yahoo.com. I'd also like to really quickly thank everyone who's bought a Bonne already. As always, thank you so much for supporting our work. It's pretty awesome that people enjoy it.
Bye.